Life on tour. If you're a journalist on tour every evening, it's party time. I'm not going to worry anything the next day. If you're on tour and you're 43 not out overnight in a test match at the SCG, room service?
Yeah, without a doubt. Touring's changed quite a lot. I think in the last sort of 10 years or so. You know, the days where the Bothams and the Gowers would spend most of their time sort of out on the razz. You know, it's probably being a little harsh, but it did sound as though they had a lot more fun on the trips than the modern players do. But you know, there's still plenty of time. You do get time in the lead up to test matches or before or between test matches to unwind and sort of take in the sights or whatever, or the amusements that somewhere like Australia would have to offer. But yeah, pretty much, you know, you're in the middle of a test match. You probably don't leave your room for well, at least I didn't used to actually. I used to stop in until the game was over and then go completely berserk when it was finished.
Life on tour. Tours probably aren't as long as they used to be, but how does it work with the family? They're around for a bit, but is that the way they sort of come in and out, as it were?
Yeah, I think the tours again since some central contracts and since the ECB have kind of really taken on board sort of the importance of keeping the players happy in terms of getting performances out of them and all this kind of stuff. They've really encouraged the guys to be able to have their families and their kids and whatever around with them whenever they want to. You know, so a lot of the time somebody like Andy Flintoff might have Rachel and Holly and the little boy with him for the whole trip.
In the last Football World Cup, the Wags were enormously high profile, probably far too high profile for their underachieving husbands. How do the cricket Wags compare with the football Wags?
Well, look, you know, the girls tend to keep themselves to themselves a little bit more. They're very, very supportive. They'll go along to the games and make sure that they're cheering on the team. But yeah, you certainly won't find them out partying until all hours. Well, when the boys have got a test match to play the next day, and quite right too.
In days gone by, I certainly used to hear stories that at the end of the day, particularly if playing Australia, people like Lillian, Marsh and Thompson would go into the England dressing room and have a beer with the England team. Does that happen these days? Do you pop into each other's dressing room mid-test match at all?
It doesn't happen so much. I know in all the time when Australia sort of were dominating, it was almost as though the kind of the hold that Australia had over England sort of spread to off the field as well, and the players weren't. The England players particularly weren't so happy to go into their dressing room and go and talk to them. It was almost as though, you know, they didn't feel worthy to go and have a beer with them. I know very much that last year the teams got on very, very well, and that the Aussie team actually took some stick from some of the old players, like some of the old guys like Merv Hughes and Alan Border, saying they were too nice. They were, you know, socialising with the England team too much, and this wasn't on, you know. But I think in general, I always used to like to go and talk to my opposite number, particularly if he'd had a good game. Or you know, I hadn't had such a good game. It was always nice to go and sort of see the human side to a team and to players, and to know that they have the same frailties and the same thought processes if they're doing well or if they're doing badly as you do, and that makes the game great.